China has banned the export of some materials essential to the manufacturing of electronics and some military equipment to the U.S. It comes in response to Washington's chip sanctions on Beijing. CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady joins me now to help explain all of this to our audience. So, Kelly, I guess the question for a lot of people is, how reliant is the United States on these materials?
Very. Okay. So, I mean, you mentioned it. This is a key input in your phones, in defense technology. And I was looking this up. So gallium and germanium, these are two of the materials that China has said we are not going to sell these to the United States anymore. We get over 50% of what we use from China. Now, we do have some of that in our earth, in the territory here in the United States, but we don't necessarily have the infrastructure to tap into that yet. So we're very reliant on it, and we're very reliant on China for this. This is kind of the tit-for-tat trade war we're seeing escalate.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I mean, we often use terms here in this country, and perhaps they do as well in China, that paint the Chinese as our adversaries. Not straight up enemies, but adversaries. And yet, when it comes to the global trade and global economy, we're more tied in together than perhaps it may sound like when politicians pontificate at a podium.
It's a really great point you make. And I think you have seen a lot of countries, not just the U.S., but China, some of these other nations move away from that global perspective and more towards what we like to call a protectionist mindset. Now, President-elect Trump refers to that as America first, make America great again, protecting domestic industries. And we're not alone in this, right? I mean, China is doing that same thing of, if you're not going to give us this, we're not going to give you that. And ultimately, yes, your domestic industries get more protected, but on the global scale, it's not always a win-win.
Yeah, I thought it was also interesting that, as you know, the president-elect has been making comments about imposing tariffs on China. And he frames it as this is a way for America to win. I thought it was interesting that the Chinese said this is a no-win situation for both the United States and for the Chinese.
Well, because China wants to sell their products to Americans, right? I mean, that's how a lot of these Chinese companies make a lot of money. And